Hey everybody, welcome back to Squarebox Games. I'm excited. Look what we have. Star Wars The Deckbuilding Game by Fantasy Flight. We're going to open it up and see what's inside. I haven't paid too much attention to this game, which is surprising because Fantasy Flight are probably my favorite publishers, and Star Wars is by far my favorite IP. But basically it's a deck building game kind of like Dominion and others, but it's head-to-head, so it's different than a lot of the other card games that Fantasy Flight has made, like Marvel Champions and Lord of the Rings card game and Arkham, that are kind of a cooperative against the game, similar to the Star Wars Living card game, or Star Wars The card game that came out several years ago, but then Star Wars Destiny came out, which is probably one of my top 5 favorite games of all time. And unfortunately it got canceled, but this looks to almost be somewhat of a spiritual successor to it. You play head-to-head in this, and basically you're trying to, you build your deck to be more powerful, but the goal of the game is to defeat your enemy's bases. First one to get to, I think, defeat 3 bases wins. So the box isn't super large. I haven't opened it yet, I just unwrapped the shrink wrap. So let's see. Caleb Grace is the designer for this. A shout out to you, Caleb. Hopefully you made an awesome game. Let's take the rule book real quick. I'm not going to go through all the rules, just kind of a quick overview. You can see we're going to get Empire Starter and Rebel Starter cards, and then there's all these Galaxy cards. So basically, the Galaxy cards are like a big bank in the middle that the players can each get stuff from, and then you've got Outer Rim Pilot cards that are basically like easy to buy generic cards. But an interesting thing with this game is you've got this Balance of the Force track, and you've got this Force marker here. So basically, certain cards will say, I think, like, move the Force your way, or if the Force is with you, aka if it's on your side. You can see we've got the light side and the dark side, which is interesting. This should be, I feel like, the opposite, because red is always associated with the Sith, and then blue lightsabers are the light side, right? But I guess, who knows? I feel like that's backwards, but it's okay. I guess the rebel symbol is red, but I always think about the Force, so the Force tracker, whatever. I'm just rambling on. Okay, so like I said, this isn't going to be a how to play. This is just going to be an unboxing. I think once I have a good grasp of the game, I will try to do a Let's Play for us. This is the Balance of the Force tracker here. It's a couple cards that kind of go in line. You can see it looked like what we saw in there. And then these are the Outer Rim Pilot cards. You can basically exile that to get it out of the game and get a resource, I think, yeah. So that generally is what a unit costs to get. That's how many points or resources you have to spend to get that card from the middle into your deck. And basically you build your hand and keep shuffling to become bigger and bigger and bigger. And I assume that's the same symbol that Destiny used for resources, so that probably gives you 2 resources when you use him. But let's see. Should we start with the light or the dark side? We'll start with the light side. First, this insert here. It's a nice insert. It looks like you can fit, I mean, the cards aren't just going to fit right on top, and there's definitely room to maybe double the size of these decks card-wise before you run out of space here, and then a large cavity below that you can probably put, more resources, but you've also got the resources here. And you've got, I think, yellow are the resources, the white's your Force tracker, and purple are damage die to keep track of damage. Then there's also quite a few space. I mean, I think you can fit all the cards just right here with a little more than you have those. So I would almost guarantee this game's going to get expansion packs, knowing how things go in the past. But you get these 4 decks here. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Okay, let's start with the Stormtrooper. I know I said we were going to start with the light side, but I'm going to change my mind. And because these decks are so small, it's kind of hard to get their stuff unwrapped. This is going to be one of those awesome videos where You just watch this person struggle for 10 minutes trying to unwrap a piece of plastic. Oh my goodness. Let me just use the force real fast. But I haven't played Outer Rim, but they've got the new Unfinished Business expansion. Now, I was a little bummed out when they announced this game that it wasn't going to be cooperative and single player, because that was a huge draw to me for Lord of the Rings card game and Marvel Champions, which I both love, is that I can play them with friends, obviously, because they're games, but they also had the ability to be played solo, which, I mean, in this day and age, sometimes it's easier just to pop down one evening by yourself and play a game, but alas, this isn't made that way. Okay, let me stop rambling again. So we've got a Stormtrooper here. You can see it's part of the starter deck. That's most likely ranged attack power, because that's the same symbol. That's free, because it's in your starter deck. And then Elite Soldiers of the Empire. Okay, that's just flavor text. So you get a couple Stormtroopers, an Imperial Shuttle. So you see an attack card here. This one's a resource. It's a transport. I'm sure that text comes into play. A bunch of those. And a bunch of just simple resource cards. An Inquisitor unit. When you play the Inquisitor, choose. They gain one of those. So I wonder if that force counter means like add one force further to your side. Ooh, and then we get some of the bases here. Lothal, the Imperial Outpost. You start the game with that one in play, and I would assume this is probably how much damage it can take, since purple with the color of the damage die, or damage cubes. So looks like this can take 8 hits. Once you do 8 damage, this would go away, then the player gets to choose another one, like Corellia, for instance. And then when you reveal Corellia, purchase an Empire or neutral card from the Galaxy row for free and add it to your hand. That's nice. You can see that's got 10 health, so it's a little bit better. And then, ooh, Coruscant, Galactic Rule. When your turn begins, look at the top 2 cards of the Galaxy deck. Place one on the top of the deck, another in the discard pile. That's pretty nice. And then the Death Star, that's also got 16 health. Spend 4 resources to destroy a capital ship your opponent has in play, or a capital ship in the Galaxy row. That's nice. Indoor. Finest Legion. When indoor is your base, each of your trooper and vehicle units gain an extra attack, it looks like. When you reveal Mustafar, gain 4 force. Kafrani from the beginning of Rogue One. When you play a neutral card for the first time, draw a card. Each turn, draw a card. Ord Mantell. Man, there are a lot of different locations you can choose from. And like I said, I think you only have 3 in a game, so you're going to see that obviously all of these planets do different things. So you'll be able to strategize as you go on, and like whatever you're, playing this is going to be way different than, maybe this where you want to focus more on the force. So you're going to be able to customize kind of the deck you're building to the bases you have chosen. So these are going to, I feel like, be very important in how the game plays. Ord Mantell, bounty hunting. When it's your base, you can bounty hunt 1 neutral unit in the Galaxy row each turn, using its cost as its target value. If you defeat that card, gain a resource equal to its cost. Castle, the Spice Mines. When you reveal it, exile the top 3 cards. Rhodia. When you reveal Rhodia, deal 1 damage to the enemy base for each enemy card in the Galaxy row. Nice. So that's pretty cool. I'm surprised on how many you can see the starter deck. I think there's more, if not the same amount of planets as there are other cards. Or bases, technically. Although every base is a planet so far, except for, I guess, Kafrani's technically an asteroid, and the Death Star is a small moon. Oh, wait. That's no small moon. Look, I got this one open quicker. And you're going to probably notice, if you're a veteran of, as I have to show a veteran trooper here, a veteran of Fantasy Flight Star Wars games, that some of this art will probably be reused by like from Destiny or X-Wing or Armada or Legion or Imperial Assault or Star Wars the card game or Outer Rim. You know, all those games that they have, which is cool. I think it's kind of fun seeing like, oh, you know, I recognize this art from this upgrade in Legion or whatever. But let's take a look at the Rebels here. Rebel Trooper, so the Stormtrooper equivalent, and these starter sets are probably going to be the exact same cards, basically just with Alliance stuff on them instead of Imperial, because you want to start the game pretty even. So there's going to be our Alliance shuttles, which are like the Lambda shuttles, and you get a whole bunch of those. Temple Guardian, just like the Inquisitor there. And then a bunch of planets, but I bet they've got different abilities. So you always start the game with Dantooine. Mon Cala. Yeah, that's similar to one of the Imperial ones. When you reveal Tatooine, swap a card in the Galaxy Row with a Rebel card. Sullust. Yavin 4. Hoth. There you go, you got a planetary shield, a Bespin. Dagobah. Alderaan. Gone. Jeddah. When Jeddah is your base, add the first neutral card you purchase each turn to your hand. You must exile that card at the end of your turn. Nice, so yet again, a lot of different base options. So it's going to be really interesting to see how those cards come into play. Let's open this one. Let's open Chewbacca. And kind of how those bases form the backbone of your play style. And obviously, as the game comes out with more expansions and everything, you'll have more cards that cater themselves towards certain bases or not. But we'll take a quick look. I'm not going to go through every single card here, but you will notice in some of these there's a cost on the bottom. Basically, I think your opponent can play stuff to basically knock that card out so you can't play with it. But let's take a look here. Chewbacca seems to be a pretty powerful attacker. Jyn Erso. And you can see right there, if the Force is with you, aka if it's on your side, the tracker is on your side of the chart, you get to do these extra things. So the goal is about not only just defeating your opponent's bases, but maybe trying to keep the Force on the balance on your side. U-Wing there. If the Force is with you, you pair 3 damage to your base. That's nice. You can say they got their cost. They give you 3 resources when you play them. And then, so the other type of card here is we have Capital Ship. So most cards, when you play them, they will get drawn into your hand. You'll play them for a turn, they'll activate, and then they'll go into your discard pile. And you'll keep drawing from your deck and playing cards until you run out of cards in your deck. Then you'll take your discard pile. Obviously, as you're buying things too, they usually buy it and then go into your discard pile. So if we like bought Chewbacca, he would go into our discard pile. And then once your deck runs out, you take your discard pile, shuffle it in, and your deck keeps growing and you keep cycling. So you'll get these, it's not like you'll have Chewbacca once the entire game. You'll get to go through him multiple times if you go that way. But the capital ships, from my understanding, is they will actually stay on the board the whole time, just like the bases. I think they're the only cards that actually do that. But looks like we got a couple of those there. I love this design. If you guys know where this design originally came from, leave a comment down below. I'll give you a shout out. Han Solo. Ooh, draw 2 cards instead if you have the Millennium Falcon. Spoiler alert, I bet that's in here. There's Cassian. So we're getting Rogue One stuff, original trilogy stuff. It's probably going to be most of it since this is Galactic Civil War era. D-Wing, an amazing fighter. I love seeing that in Return of the Jedi when I was a kid. Princess Leia. A Mon Calamari Cruiser is another capital ship. See, they've got their own health too. There's the Millennium Falcon. Let's see. This costs 7, but you get 5 attack and 2 resources. That's pretty good. And you can bring something from your discard pile back into your hand. There we go. The man himself, Luke Skywalker. Probably the most expensive card, I would imagine. on their side. The force is with you, destroy a capital ship your opponent has in play. But then you also get 2 force and 6 attack. Okay, now we've got the additional Imperial cards, which I said are probably going to match pretty similarly to the Rebels, but this is where we may see some differences. The starter sets are probably, are exactly the same, but here's where we're going to see different strategies in the way they play, and it'll be interesting to see how this comes out. Bunch of TIE fighters. Admiral Piet. Lets your capital ships get more power. A TIE bomber. Nice. Such a cool design. Scout troopers. Reveal the top card of the Galaxy deck. If it's an Empire card, you gain a force. Death Trooper. I like how much Rogue One stuff we're getting here. It's my favorite Star Wars movie. TIE Interceptor. Probably my favorite ship in all of Star Wars. I just love that dagger-like design. Okay, let's see. This is an Imperial capital ship here. 3 damage. I guess it can take, 3 health, so it can take 3 damage, just like the planets. Moff Gerard. Gerard. I've never been able to pronounce his name right. General Veers. Looking intense and confused at the same time. ATST. That's definitely from a card I think is an ambush command card from the Legion. 4 attack. Love it. Landing crafts. More transports. That looks kind of like the U-Wing. Director Krennic. Love it. Boba Fett. Alright. I'm surprised that he's not kind of a mercenary neutral card, but he is strictly working with the Empire. Imperial Carrier. That's a capital ship. You can see it says that right there. Ooh, we get Tarkin in this. Grand Moff Tarkin. Ooh, yes, of course an AT-AT. Star Destroyer. Gotta have a Star Destroyer. Can't not have the Empire without Star Destroyers. And then Darth Vader. When the Force is with you, Darth Vader gets 4 attack, and he already has 6, so man. We'd have 10 attack right there. That's insane. Those are the Empire cards, which honestly is way more than the Rebel cards. Maybe the Rebel cards are split up. Maybe they're in this. I bet this is neutral and Rebel cards, and they just split that into even packs. We'll see. But man, this game's looking fun so far. I was hesitant to look at this because I'm like, I'm going to buy this game. I'm going to end up buying every pack for it again, just like most of the other Star Wars Fantasy Flight games that have come out. Yeah, look, there we go. There's the Rebel cards. So let's go through the rest of those real quick. Those are the equivalent of the TIE fighters. Ooh, we get Baze. That's nice. Snowspeeder. A Duro Spy. Sweet glasses, dude. Rebel Transport. Chirrut. I love how much Rogue One stuff we have in this. This is awesome. Rebel Commandos. And X-Wings, of course. Nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put those with the Rebel cards there so they're together. And these are kind of the neutral cards that either person can buy, whether you're a light side or dark side. So the classic Z95 Headhunter. Ooh, a Jawa. I like that. A Rodian Gunslinger. Not necessarily Greedo. Looks like there's multiple of them. A Keldor Mystic. A lot of different alien species so far. Lobot. I'm surprised he's a neutral. I guess he's just kind of there. Bosk. Now Bosk, a bounty hunter. See? He is true neutral, unlike Boba Fett. When Boss defeats a target in the galaxy row, gain a force. Fang Fighters. A Twi'lek Smuggler. Man, I like all the different species we're getting. Oh, cool. A Sea Rock Cruiser, so we've got neutral capital ships as well. Look who's peeking out from behind. Dengar. A lot of bounty hunters. This is fun. A Quarren Mercenary. HKW 290s or HWK 290s. Not necessarily the Moldy Crow, but let's be honest, it's the Moldy Crow, which I love. Maybe we'll get Kakatarn again someday. Blockade runners, so not Rebel blockade runners, just generic blockade runners. Oh, IG-88. This is some cool art. I love that. And what? Nebulon B frigate that's not necessarily Rebel? That's interesting. I guess they have to balance somewhere. That's cool. Lando. I am shocked that Lando is neutral. I'm really surprised that he's only neutral. Jabba's sail barge and Jabba the Hutt. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, so pretty heavy on bounty hunters on this. And then we'll go ahead and open this up as well, which I think this is just the force counter in these outer rim pilots. And I'm not sure. I think these outer rim pilots are basically like if you can't... Oh, there's a lot of other, like Dominion, I think there's these cards that if you can't buy anything on your turn, you can like get one of those in your hand for free. And I bet that's what these guys are. Just so like each turn, you're guaranteed to, if you want, at least take one of these. You won't have a turn where you like can't do anything at all. Oh my goodness. This is embarrassing, guys. Just fast forward, assume that I did this in like half a second. I'm not going to give up. But as I try to do this, overall, I think this game looks really fun. Obviously, I haven't read the rules. I think I'm going to do that once I have a good understanding of the game. I will probably do a how to play, but I didn't want to spend forever fumbling through everything, every single rule, and trying to understand it on camera. Yeah, here's these outer rim pilots. And then, oh, here we go, look at this. Okay, so this unfolds. Gotcha, and it's two-sided here, interesting. So here we go, let's look at this, how a turn goes. At the start of your turn, you gain resources from your capital ships in play. If the force is all the way on your side, you get an extra resource. On your turn, you can do the following as many times as you can in any order. Play a card from your hand, use resources to purchase a card from the Galaxy row. Note when a card leaves the Galaxy row, it's immediately replaced with the top card of the Galaxy deck. Use an ability on your card in play, commit units with attack to bounty hunt / sabotage a target in the Galaxy row. Commit units and capital ships with attack to attack the enemy base or resolve an attack. So that's one of those where if this was in the Galaxy row and you're the Empire player, you're going to see this one. So you could use one of your attacks to sabotage that basically, to keep the enemy from getting it. And I think if you do that, you would gain a resource as a reward. Likewise, if you had this Y-Wing, you could use it to aim at, a TIE fighter and try to beat it that way. Okay. At the end of your turn, discard all your resources units in your hand, and then draw a new hand of 5 cards, but you keep your capital ships there. And then we also have these quick reference guides. So attack, resources, force, and then unique is that little star. You could see that obviously like Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, they're unique. There can only be one of those out at a time. But like a Stormtrooper or an X-Wing or a TIE Fighter, you could have 3 or 4 of those out because they're not unique. And then there's some quick terms there. Pretty standard stuff. Target, cost, exile, hit points, reward. So, card abilities are optional. You don't have to resolve them. So that's a quick overview of the cards that come in the pack for the starter set. So let's do neutral, Imperial, then Rebel all in a row. This game looks to be like a lot of fun. Now it says it's like a 30-minute, I think is what it said. Yeah, 30 minutes, 2 players, head-to-head. So I would imagine probably maybe give yourselves an hour the first time you play, because you guys are going to be fumbling through trying to learn everything. But the game doesn't look overly complicated, but there is enough here to not make it boring, you know? I feel like it's going to be that good middle ground, which a lot of Fantasy Flight does that. I know Lord of the Rings card game's a little complicated and punishingly difficult at times, but the rule book's not super large, like 20, 30 pages. Adjustable game length, let's see. In the beginner game, you do 3 bases. So the first player to destroy 3 of their opponent's bases wins. That can be adjusted to increase or decrease the length of the game. Let's see. Well, it looks like the standard here should be 4 or 5 bases. And then if you want to be even faster, you could go down to 2 bases. Obviously, you need to pick that before you start playing the game and agree on that. Full Galaxy. Okay, no, this is the right way. So there's different game modes. Full Galaxy is the game as it is intended to be played. Basically, you have all 10 bases in your base deck. When choosing a new base in this mode, you have more options available. And there's the secret bases, a 2v2 multiplayer version, which sounds like a lot of fun. So, like I said, I would recommend, if this looks interesting to you, go ahead, check it out. Like I said, I'll try to have a Let's Play up, but I think Fantasy Flight has another great Star Wars game on their hands here. I hope they support it for a long time. Please, Fantasy Flight, don't cancel it like you did Destiny. I'm so sad about that, even though there's a great community out there that's added a lot of content, a lot of fan content afterwards. But I think this is going to be great. Fantasy Flight, keep up the good work. Let me know what you guys think. If you played this game already, if you have, let me know how you like it. What's it compared to? You know, is it hard? Is it easy? What's the closest game? Is it like Dominion, Harry Potter, Hogwarts Battle? You know. And do you prefer the Stormtrooper or the Rebels? Are you an Imperial or a Rebel? Which side do you like the most? But until then, I won't take up more of your time. Thanks for stopping by the channel. Hit that subscribe button, please, if you don't mind. It means a lot to us. Until then, you guys go play some games.